it's time now to look at whether training affects combat performance. I've made some shorts recently about training because it's an aspect of these older games that is irrelevant now. Back when people were playing Rome Total War, you definitely noticed, for example, that peasants were arranged in a disorganised mob. You would see velites running back and forwards for their volleys, and you would notice that they're not standing in organised fashion. It was very apparent that these units had different levels of training, different styles of fighting, even just standing in line. But that isn't really apparent anymore. Like when you play Three Kingdoms, for example, you're not really thinking about heavy spear guards. Are these guys standing in disciplined, organised, trained, drilled fashion? It's just not something that you think about, because it's not really anything that the game ever utilises or draws your attention to or gives you any reason to think about or even notice. Because of course you press a button after all to get your spear guard to do, what is it? What's the ability they have again? To pseudo? Or what's it called? Spear wall or whatever the fuck. That is where the formation comes into the gameplay in the game. When you click buttons to make them walk around and stand in some relative fashion that gives them numbers. And that's the real tragedy of it all. When you click those buttons, it just buffs numbers up. So it's this number-oriented mindset, this spreadsheeting attitude that's pervasive now, that is doing a lot of damage to how tactical these games can get, or can possibly ever even be when you're playing them now. So it's worth analysing that. And it has a lot of intersection with things like the HP system. And there's an anecdote that describes this really well. On my Reddit, there was someone that just turned up and started complaining about Shogun 2 as if to say that we're hypocrites because we give Shogun 2 a pass that it doesn't deserve. I think it's along those lines, I'm trying to remember. Anyway, the point is, his objections were shot down in quick fashion by the people on my subreddit, but he eventually turned up again a few weeks later, and I remembered who he was because I'm really good at remembering people and categorising them into groups. I kind of sort them away for future reference, like I'll just see the username again and I'll just immediately have a deja vu and instinctively know what I'm dealing with. So this guy turned up again on my subreddit to ask something else, and what he asked was, what kind of combat bonuses does Yaruwal give Yari Ashigaru? Because by this point he realised that Shogun 2 was a superior game. He assimilated that, internalised it, and was aware of it by now. In the few weeks that had passed, he had come to the awareness that yeah, Warhammer sucks and Shogun 2 is an actual RTT game worthy of the genre description. So he was now asking for clarification about Yaruwal, because he was obviously invested in the game and interested in how it worked. So he made a thread, I think it was him that made the thread, and on the thread he was asking, so what is the combat bonuses that Yaruwal actually gives? And I was just sort of surprised, because why would you want it to give combat bonuses? Why would you want a formation to give you numbers for the fight? Why would you want that? Wouldn't that just be a massive disappointment? So that wasn't the approach I took, of course. I said something else like, you click the button and you see them moving around into a Yaruwal. What more can you want? That is the effects, that is the combat effects of the formation, of the button being clicked. Why are you asking what it does? Which he actually was. He was asking, what does Yaruwal do? So I told him what it actually did. it changed the way that the unit fought. And he just didn't get it, so he just kept asking. And eventually other people even joined in with being like, yeah, why are you not just answering his question? He wants to know what the numbers are that Yariwo gives, as if it isn't in a way offensive to suggest that it should, or that it maybe does. Why can't it just be a formation that affects how the unit fights? Why does it have to be a button that you click to get numbers? So this is something that I've been thinking about recently, and that is a part of the motivation for examining how these things worked in older games, because in modern games you've got buttons that give numbers. You have, I think the way that I phrase it at the moment is, you have, in older games, systems that simulate, but in modern games you have numbers that interact, and that is the spreadsheeting observation in a nutshell. So it's time to look at how being trained in Rome Total War affects how these units perform in a fight, and we can do that here with some testing, so let's get on with it. So we're going to go with Grassy Flatlands, medium difficulty, so it's a controlled test. And it's going to be Julii against Brutii, shared rosters. We're both defending. Well, I'm defending, they're attacking, we're both attacking, I should say. And I'm going to go with... Oh wait, actually this is for later. We're doing Gauls against Dacians. So, chosen swordsman first. I've got untrained, moderately trained, highly trained, and I'm going to do highly trained against untrained. So these two units are identical except for the training. So we can run this a few times and see how it goes. I'm going to start by being trained, then I'll give the train to them and see how it goes. And something else we can examine is if it affects stamina. Also, there's Warcry that can confound this somewhat, so we're going to have to control for this. We need to try and eliminate variables that might become apparent.
Hurry.
Also, I've got the audio down. Audio options. Got to have that Rome Total War soundtrack. Taunting. Oh, so they've taunted, I'll taunt back. And then I'll resume. See how we've become disordered? This is something I should have done as well. I should have just had some of every kind. So I should have had some untrained, some moderately trained, some well trained. But you can see the training apparent, because even when there's only 3 ranks, they still resemble an organised formation. You can see the lines. Warcry should wear off around about now. $140 versus 140, it's quite even. But these units are both spazzing out at the moment. 125 via 110, 120 via 110. Yeah, the AI acted weird in this one. It seems like we have a lead here. 110 v 95. I might need to control for the Warcry a bit better, because if they activated theirs first, then ours would have lingered for longer in the fight and it might have affected it. But it seems like we're going to win this. Warmed up, winded. See that as well? This is another thing that might result from training. Stamina might become more apparent. We are warmed up, they are winded. There's a discrepancy. Both winded now. And we won.
Victory is the reward of warriors. Great.
So that's just a first test. We won that. We are trained, they are not, and we won. And I'm going to do this again. Golvidations. 1, 2, 3, and then give them 1. And we'll go again after I show the training differences. So this is what training actually does, visibly. These guys at the back are obviously the untrained ones. Look at how they stand in disorganised fashion. They have the same chevrons, but let's have a look at this. Nah, that's not in there. Wrong one. But if I keep clicking on the spot, you can see it becoming completely randomised.
Move out, forward. Move out, forward.
Every time I place them, it's random. And then for this one, same again, but you see the variation is very low. And then this is the somewhat trained. You can see the variation is increased. So it's much more randomised where the men stand in the unit. Time to get these out of the way. And do this again. What I should maybe do is war cry and then run away in the other direction. And then once both war cries have expired, then I turn around. And of course I have to try and mirror what they do. So whenever they are running, I want to be running. Whenever they're walking, I walk. If they war cry, I war cry. When they're taunting, I'll taunt. I'll activate war cry and run away in the other direction. And I've got a hotkey for taunt, so I can press that. For war cry. But in that first fight, you might think there's a big difference, but that might be an outlier, we'll have to see. It'll be interesting either way. They targeted one of the other units. That's what happened there. Yeah, we're gonna have to do this again. I should have just walked into the back. Alright. That's what happened there. Bringing other units confounded the test. Okay. Also, I don't have my general in that unit, which can mess this up. Yeah, okay. We'll do this properly, we'll do it right. See all these tiny variables? The general not being in the unit can make a difference. But I don't mind because I got to show the difference in training, what it does. Something I've already done, but I want to make sure I do it in this video so nothing can be misunderstood here. 690, 680. I know which one I'm bringing because of the cost. That's the differentiator that I've got. Because of course I've created these units myself using the file. Alright, we can do this now. I was wondering why they weren't taunting. That was confusing there. They're gonna walk at me, I'll walk at them. And when they taunt, I'll taunt. I can time it perfectly, I think. Yeah. 1 or 2 seconds off. So I'm gonna just walk in the other direction now. They're gonna walk as well. Yeah, they're walking, good. So I'll walk in the other direction, do that for about a minute, then I'll turn around, meet them in the charge, and then we can do another test. And it's expired. Alright. Formation should tidy up. Alright, we're running. Running at each other. They started running a little bit faster. Let's study this and see if there's any difference in terms of how they fight. 145 v 130. Look at this weird behaviour they do though. It's like they're trying to get around each other. It's like the arms of a spiral nebula spinning around each other. Look at it. But once again, it seems like we have a slight advantage. It's not as great of an advantage as it was last time. It's quite close. We're doing better on the flanks. They're doing better on this flank. It seems like we have more cohesion though. There's the general. They have guys running around. We do too. It's weird how they do this. General is gonna die at this rate, definitely. Really close. They are favourites to win at this rate. Their general's killing our guys. Let's fast forward this, see how it goes. Warmed up, winded. We have a stamina advantage. Again. We're wavering. Both winded. Shaken. We're outnumbered substantially. And I think part of that is their general being behind our line. Running around. And they won that time.
Your warriors weep in shame at this defeat. The enemy victory cries are an insult.
So something happened there that meant that they won this time. It was like our fortunes just changed in the middle of the fight. It seemed like we had the lead. It seemed like we had the start of the fight. And then it went to shit. Yeah, right. Let's do this again. So the results are ambiguous at this point. There isn't a clear, obvious advantage being conferred in this circumstance. Warcry, run away in their direction. Wait until Warcry wears off. And then we turn around. Yep. And we can run now. Cohesion is getting to look good. Yep, we're gonna hit with cohesion. Seems like they're a bit heavier on this side. 144 of 100 and... yeah, it's even. Very even. And it looks like we have good cohesion this time. They're not doing the weird shit that happened. Looks like they are winning slightly. Yeah, so they're going into this with an advantage, but they're warmed up. We're fresh, they're warmed up. Both warmed up. 60 v 80 something. Defeat seems certain. Looks like they're gonna win. Yep, they won again.
The day is lost as your warriors.
So what is going on here? Why are we losing this? Is this typical? It seems like we won the first one with some advantage, but then every time after that it's went badly, so what's going on there? To do this differently, I'm gonna guard mode, and we're gonna repeat. So they're gonna be given the charge. Gonna move towards them and stop. So we're gonna have a cohesive, static, trained formation. We're gonna get in position now. Yep. There they go. So you can really see the effect of training here. We're standing in organised lines. We braced, lost 10, they lost 5. We're taking a lot of losses. 135 against 150. 130 against 145. 122 against 140. They're blobbing really hard in the middle. It's like they've pushed through. They're warmed up. We're fresh. This guy here is behind us. He's going to be killing us. He'll probably get a few. Nah, he's been faced 2-on-1. So this is something that being trained could lead to. More activations of nearby guys to intervene when this kind of thing happens. Because this can cascade really badly. If this guy was not met, he would have been able to kill like 5 or 6 guys probably, but he was traded there. So he got 1, but then he was immediately traded by the other guy because it was 2-on-1. And 2-on-1 is way better than 1-on-1 because in addition to Lanchester's laws, you also have the positioning advantage. This guy got a side shot into him. That's why that guy died there, because he couldn't defend himself. 60 v 90, so we're losing quite badly at the moment. Alright, get out of guard mode. 25 v 50. Yeah. So that doesn't seem to work well either, to guard mode through the whole fight, so let's see if we can do something else. Let's see if we can stretch out into a long line like this, guard mode, and then unguard mode when they clash, and see if we can envelop them, see if that actually works. Will training assist with having cohesive lines that are better at taking charges? Maybe. We'd have to test trained and untrained to determine. Maybe we should. There's a lot of stuff you can test. Also, they've got war crime, we don't. Right, so we've got them all impaled on the front of the formation. Then we can unguard mode, and then hopefully these guys on the flanks will go around and get angles on them, which will give us a favourable melee. Just speculating, could happen. Let's see if it does. Looks quite good here.
The enemy warlord lies dead. Now he can drink with his ancestors and watch his warriors.
It worked that time.
Enemy army.
So we lost.
Victory is the reward of warriors.
80.
Great victories like this go only to the best.
They lost 120. Let's do that again. Let's see if that actually works. Let's see if this is a viable tactic in a melee. And then if it works and is reliable, let's see if we can repeat it with being untrained, or if this is actually something that emerges and results and is useful from having trained units. So first of all, let's make sure this is actually viable, and then secondly we test it against untrained, see how it does. So we're taking the charge with disciplined long lines, and then we're taking guard mode off, and then we're letting just the training and the envelopment carry them in the fight. So they take the charge really well. They do take losses. Seems like we took a lot. That might be the war cry there, giving them massive stats. So they had a big advantage there. Their KD was 2. Let's see how their KD ends up for the fight. Or yeah, the advantage is disappearing now. Seems like it works. It looks like it works. I really think it is this flanking. You could track the actions that happen on these flanks and count the KD. It looks like they're losing a lot. It really looks like we win on the flanks here, while the centre holds. That guy's doomed, that's the general, he's doomed. It's important that the general gets ganged up on.
The enemy warlord is dead, slain by your brave warriors.
Ideally we would remove the general from the test, but it's hard to do that against an AI. Yeah, we won again. Similar result again, 82. It's almost exactly the same.
The enemy are...
So let's just assume that that's how it works. I might be wrong, maybe those are two outlier results beside each other, but I think that's how it's going to go every time. And then let's try this again, except Untrained and see how it goes. Untrained against Untrained. Let's see how it goes. What do you think the outcome will be? And yeah, look at the lines. Really messy lines. You really see it when you're doing too thick. Because occasionally you'll get guys that look like they're standing on their own. Let's find one. This guy occupies a lot of width of the unit by himself. Let's see if there's any more that are like that. This guy here occupies a lot of the width by himself. And then you have guys that are there's a big gap between them in terms of front and back. Like these guys here. This guy is way behind him. So this is not a cohesive unit that's well spaced and organised. This is a very haphazard disposition. So let's see how this goes in an actual fight. Because of course we're coming up against a disorganised line as well, Untrained. They have good stats, they're the finest Gallic infantry, but is this letting them down? Obviously with a unit like Berserkers, they're not going to rely on this whatsoever, this cohesion. But what about infantry, swordsmen, that stand in line with sword and shield? Alright, they are enveloped. Let's see how it goes. Looks quite even. Balanced so far. Wow, we're doing really well compared to last time. Already winning. Sort of, it's swinging quite a lot. Oh, actually it's turning. I think we're losing now. Oh, this is interesting. Oh man, this is really interesting. Imagine if I had reversed it as well and made them the trained ones. Maybe we should do that too. We're winning. We are winning. Alright, let's fast forward it. Because we're already performing a bit worse, I think. Yeah, we won.
Victory is the reward of warriors!
So it wasn't as decisive. I'll say that much, but a part of that might be the fact that we didn't kill their general. Same again. Guard mode. Fast forward. Stop. Take the charge. It seems like we're reliably winning against the AI. Alright, let's get the war cry out of the way. We're facing the right direction. Look at how weird this formation is here. We do have weak points in our line, like theirs weak. There's a lot of guys coming up against us in that spot. And great formation. Looks like we're slightly in the lead. Yeah, we have a really good development going. We really outnumber them on the flanks. They're blobbing hard in the middle. That's really bad for them. I think this might be an absolute demolition again. Yeah, fast forward. Actually, it's kind of close. Well, we're gonna win. Yeah, we're winning.
You have killed the enemy general.
That was close again.
A battle won and an enemy beaten are always worth celebrating.
So there's a tentative conclusion that we can draw at the moment, and that is that if you want to reliably have a line that you can count on and then have tactics based on, you probably do want to have trained infantry. It'll affect how they fight. So the units are being differentiated in a way that has nothing to do with number bonuses. So far that's what it looks like. It looks like it does affect how they fight. It looks like it does affect outcomes. Let's completely reverse it now. Let's go Dacians and give ourselves disorganised infantry while giving them trained ones and see if it feels different. Because we've been playing against untrained infantry this whole time, so let's reverse it and see if we can have a similar reversal in fortunes. Yep. They have trained infantry, and we don't. Let's see how this goes. Well, first of all, I'm gonna just run at them normally and see how they do. I think we've won most of our fights so far, but there's no reason that we should, because these units are identical. Yeah, they perform the same in the melee if you just go by the stats alone, so these are identical units except for training. That's the only thing that's changing between these fights. Alright, let's try and meet them now in the fight. They're trained, we're not. Let's see how this goes. I'm gonna run back. Both sides looked cohesive there, both sides. And we're gonna fast forward this, see how it goes. They're trained, we're not. Looks close. Yeah, they won. They beat us quite soundly. Do this again. And that's the great thing about this. Anyone can do this test because it's a simple test. And I can even show you the change that I've done. I'm going to do that right now, in fact. So here is the difference. These are the units that I'm using right now. So I've duplicated this, I duplicated that twice, so we have 3 of this, except the other 2 are given trained and highly trained, and the cost has been upped very slightly, and I've changed their name so that they get instantiated by the game as their own unit. And that's all I've done. That's it. And I need to wait for Rome Total War to load in. But yeah, that's what I've done. You can do it if you want to mimic my experiment. Try it. I think my game might be locked. No, wait. Yeah, my game crashed. Alright, got to launch the game again. And keep going with the testing. It's really interesting stuff though, isn't it? Isn't this interesting? Is this something that you even gave pause to before? Dacia against Gauls. Shitty infantry, good infantry. Untrained v trained. And I can't emphasise enough, these are the same units on paper. Statistically they are identical. The only thing that is being modified is how they stand relative to one another. It's purely physical and tangible and real. The actual men and where they stand in the unit. It's real. This is real differentiation. This is not fucking numbers that just go up and down on a sliding scale that has already had its upper and lower bounds set by the developers, where it means nothing if you slide up and down on it. This is something that you actually see as being modelled in the game and can follow along every step. You can watch the melees that happen. You can see how the melees are different because of this change. You can see how the 2-on-1s might go your way more often because of this stuff. Alright, I'm gonna run now. Yeah, they ran. Good, good, good. Oh, look at that. Come on, get in formation. Just don't get left behind. Oh man, we got a better charge, somehow. Looks like we have a way better charge. No idea why we would. That's weird. maybe their war cry didn't activate, I don't know. We have a massive advantage now. It's just bad for testing. That was really decisive.
This is a great victory! The cries of dying enemies are sweet music to our warriors.
Yeah, that was really decisive. I don't like that. That might be the war cry fucking with us. Let's try this again. So when they war cry, I'll run away. I'll war cry and run away. We have to eliminate this. Yeah, I'm war crying and we're running away. If they run, I'll run. Something I'll test separately is stamina. Alright, turn around, let's go. Hopefully they haven't got any war cry going on whatsoever. Hopefully this is a perfectly fair, even fight. Yeah, that looks more like it. Something weird happened in that last one. I don't know if that last one should count, that was really strange. I think their charge just didn't work for some reason. Alright, fast forward. It's just even. Oh, they won.
Your warriors weeping.
Yeah, that looks like it could have went either way. Alright, so I've tested the Chosen Swordsman enough, but this is not it. There's more that I can do. I've done something else that's interesting. But I think if you had to draw a conclusion based on all this testing, which is something that you would want to do, you would hope you would be able to do, I think it would be that training does seem to give an advantage in the melee. It doesn't seem heavy, but it's there. And let's try and make sure of it. That's the objective now. Like, the hypothesis is that there is some effect on the fight. The null hypothesis was it shouldn't affect the fight. These fights are all just numbers, because that's what modern Total War games are. The numbers are everything, which is why I shit on Rome 2 so much, and I'm fixated on this right now. Because in Rome 2, flanking doesn't matter, positioning doesn't matter. That game is so poisoned by reliance on number bullshit that even the most aggressive and blatant tactical actions are dwarfed and rendered impotent. And that's what the Praetorian Guard rear charges shows really well, I think. Alright, Julii v Brutii. And I've made something here. I've made an absolute abomination. Let's take a look at it. Town Watch. Yeah. Untrained. Trained. Actually, let's try and acquaint with this to make sure. Gotta make sure of this. So we've got watch. Right, we've got infinite morale, untrained. Then we've got infinite morale, trained. So that's 99, 101. And then infinite morale, trained, high defense for 111. So, hang on, I'm just making sure of this. There's morale there. 99 morale I've given them. So morale is taken out of the equation because that obviously affects these fights a lot. These are low morale units, and we can't have one having morale swings and routing. So we've got ignore the one that costs 150, that's the default, and that's irrelevant to this. We're fixated on the ones that are made cheaper. I made this test about a week ago. Alright, we've got infinite morale, untrained, and that's all. There's no changes here. So this is really tacky and shitty, and it costs 99. And then this one, 101. Infinite morale, trained. So they all have high morale. All of these units that I've made have really high morale. And then down here we've got also high melee defense, then 111, 109. Untrained high defense, and then trained in defense. Untrained in defense, trained in defense, and then trained and untrained. Alright, I get it now. Got it. So we can really figure out a lot of shit here using these units. Untrained, highly trained, and then we've got untrained high morale and then trained high morale. Alright. Let's just look at these first. I'm going to show you this. You can see the difference already. Untrained, trained, untrained, trained, and these are all highly trained. By default I think they're just moderately trained. And then low defense one, high defense one, 25 defense. So I've put the defense skill up to 20, so they have really high morale, all of them. It's just a test unit. And then this one will have high morale and trained. Yeah. Alright, we're going to test one of these now. So, we're taking morale out of the equation, we're making the fights really long and consistent, so we're taking the melee swinging out of the equation. There's almost no way that these tests can be affected by anything. It's pure. So we're going to do untrained against trained. And then we're going to test the really high melee defense ones as well. But there's no ability here that can fuck this up, there's nothing. So let's try this. Untrained against trained. And it's going to go all the way. So this is a fight that can happen in the game. The only difference is there's no morale that can dictate who wins. It's a fight to the death. Untrained versus trained, and we should not be winning, but we are. Let's see how this goes. Alright, we're not winning anymore. It looks even. They're winning. No, it's even. Are we getting tired faster than them? It'll be interesting to see if we are, because that'll mean that training affects stamina. Alright, whichever one is tired faster, that'll tell us. Oh, we're tired. See that? We're tired faster. How long is it going to take for them to become tired? Now they're tired. Right there. So it seems quite consistently to be the case that training means units tire slower. Isn't that fascinating? Would you have ever thought that? So it's like there's a hidden advantage being given to the Romans in this game because their units are all trained to one extent or another. And this is going all the way, and we're gonna lose. They outnumber us by a lot now. They're not exhausted yet, we are. Now they're exhausted too. And they're gonna win this. But their general's still alive as well. So it could come down to that. Nah, 13-3. See how close it is? It went all the way. And now my general's outnumbered completely.
The gods test a man.
Fascinating shit. They won barely. It really might be the case that the stamina difference is everything. Maybe when the fight starts to drag out, they're less tired and that just tips it in their favour. Or is there something else? But what this shows, I think, conclusively, is that there is a combat effect of training in this game. And I don't think it just comes down to the stamina. I think that this affects how fights go, and players that have trained units have more options at their disposal. Because I think things like what I did with envelopment are more practical. Let's do this same again. Run. Yeah, we lost cohesion there. See that? We actually did lose cohesion. But we had a better charge. We're fast forward again. Let's get a result. Let's see which way this goes in terms of winded. Remember, they're trained, we are not. So they should win if this game models training properly. There's a reason armies trained their infantry. There's a reason training was done. It works. We're meant to win this according to this, but let's see. And remember, these Town Watch have normal Town Watch stats. There's no high melee defense yet. I can do that later, in a minute. Come on, go tired. We should go tired first, because we're untrained. Let's see. And then we should lose as well. We should already be losing though. Stamina hasn't had time to affect the fight yet, but long term it should, and we should lose. Yeah, we're tired. No, they're tired too. We should lose this, so let's see if we do. We lost the first one. Will we lose this one too? It's close though, the fight is late enough that it's close. Could go either way. Really could go either way, this is not conclusive or decisive at all. We're exhausted, they're not. No, they're exhausted. See that? They have... We tire slightly faster. We always have in all these tests. Or I should say, untrained units have always tired faster and when I've done these tests every time. There hasn't been a single exception. And we're losing again.
The gods test a man.
Is this a satisfying outcome? Is this difference the kind of difference you would expect when one unit is more cohesive than the other in a game that is simulating all of these many melee engagements that happen, where men can get stabbed in the back, men can get outnumbered? Is this what you would expect? Let's do one more, right? Because so far it's 2 for 2 in the way that would be expected. So let's do one more. And then we can test the high melee defense version of this experiment. But so far I'm satisfied. There is a combat benefit to being trained in this game. It's there. And of course we already know about the benefit in terms of allowing men to run through. It's a more permeable unit. The consistency helps there too. Yeah, that charge was really uncohesive. No cohesion in that shitty charge whatsoever. We still had a good charge though. Look, we get the charge every time. It's really strange. Something's going on there. We are winning. Well, let's see if we're winning long term. Advantage is disappearing. It's getting close now. Advantage is gone. No advantage, balanced. Oh wait, we're winning slightly. We're winning. It looks like we've got this one. Have we? I think we have. Now the advantage is stacking up, it's getting really close to the end. Man, it's funny how it swings like that. And that's a good way to get us into our next test. Because that was close. So, trained won 2 out of 3 times, and the third time it was really close. The closest one, I think.
Your victory could not have beat him.
So this is still inconclusive. Sorta inconclusive. It's not open and shut. So we have to do one more test. And that's where I came up with the high melee defense fuckers to drag the fight out even fucking longer. So we've tested these two. Now we test these two. 109 v 111. 25 melee defense, that's higher than urban cohorts. But in this case it all comes from melee defense. And the reason I went with melee defense for this is that that might perhaps amplify the effect of backstabs, because melee defense doesn't get checked for when you're getting stabbed in the back. So hypothetically you could have a well-trained unit that never has slip-ups and almost never allows rear shots. You could have that unit fighting a unit that's really clumsy and makes a lot of mistakes, like an untrained one, and see a difference be amplified a lot. So that's the test I'm doing here, 20 melee defense on both sides. But we are untrained and they're trained. And you can see it there. See how cohesive they are? So these are two really high defense units. So individually, these are exceptional fighters. These are all ninjas. These guys are all like cats with their reflexes. In a one-on-one fight, they are fucking... they're like Kensai or Kensei. No one can get past them in a fight. They're like... who's that guy from Game of Thrones? The Sword of the Morning? Like, goddamn. No one can break their guard. But what if they get outnumbered or their backs are turned and they get stabbed in the back, like the Sword of the Morning was? Let's see if that can happen. Alright, we're running. So let's see if that difference does get amplified. No one's died yet on either side. That melee defense works. See how important melee defense is? It even protects against charges. But look at that already, the general's on the deck. No one's died yet. No one has died yet. Who's going to be the first one to... who's first blood going to? I should say. Yep, we lost one first. So it looks good so far. Lost another one. Alright, it's even. Accumulating casualties evenly. Let's fast forward this because this is going to be slow. And I don't know how many runs of this I would need to do. We're winded. But this is another thing. We should get tired faster and it should matter for longer. But it looks like we're winning. Look at that. It looks like we're winning. Why are we winning? How can this happen? How can we have an advantage in this fight? Also, look at the shape.
The enemy general is slain, and now his men fear us.
Look at the shape as well.
It is time to press the attack.
Look at, like, what does this shape remind you of? I probably shouldn't suggest. But we have a significant lead at the moment. We've lost 18, they've lost 45. So we have a big KD advantage. We've lost 12%, they've lost 29%. Big difference, let's fast forward. 12%, 30%, 13%, 30%. This is a big difference. So where are they dying? What is actually going on here? What explains this? It's interesting that this is what happens. You have a push happening in the middle, and then they have two separate pushes on either side of it. It's like we're breaking through in the middle. Remember, these units are identical except for training. So whatever it is that's happening here, it has been amplified a lot. Something has been really amplified. 27%, 70%, 28%, 70%. What are you thinking right now? What are you thinking has happened? What explains this? Is it because we are untrained that we've managed to get this really aggressive flank? How many kills is this guy going to get, for example? Oh, he went down. Look at the difference. We've lost a third, they've lost almost everything. Look at this shit. That's an extreme difference. That is really extreme. So this is a great example of the pure mechanics of the game being put on display. Something happened here that allowed us to envelop them. Look at that difference. Nearly 3 kills for every loss against trained infantry. Is this an outlier? Did something happen here that doesn't usually happen? Let's see. Because of course they had the stamina advantage as well.
So the foe has units. Await my orders.
And go again. Has your confidence in Rome Total War been shaken by that? Do you know what could have done that? What do you think did it? I have some ideas. And we're going to fast forward now. Seems like we're slightly winning. Slightly winning again. Slightly winning again. Is there a hidden bonus being given to the player in this game? What is actually going on? We should reverse this and see if it happens the same way again. It's not as decisive this time, but you've still got the same shape that happened there. And remember, this is an outlier fight of 20 melee defense, so this is not a fight you would normally see in the game. So it might amplify unintended phenomena, rare phenomena that usually don't manifest. But I think what this does do is the most important thing it possibly could, and that is, it should show that training in Rome Total War actually does affect how fights go, and sometimes it can be really favourable, which is what matters, because then you can find out when that is and how to use it. 57 v 45, we're winning again. I think we're winning on the flanks here. Like, let's take a look at all the bodies, that's something we can do. A lot of green bodies up here. And then some red ones there. And then over here, quite a lot of red ones, I think. Yeah. Fast forward for the rest of it. And by the way, this is as far as I got when I was testing this. So I've tested 3 things so far, 3 different tests, pretty much, in an attempt to control for variables and to amplify effects. So if you think you have an idea for a test that could expose some of the underlying interesting ways that these systems work, comment and let me know and I can test it. Like if you can think of a way to test stamina that'll be interesting, let me know about that. Because there's definitely an edge that's had. There's one that I can see. But I do suspect that there might be something weird going on here, like the AI being nerfed when it's against the player. And it might even be randomized or something. There might be RNG involved, because there are some very strange results of playing against the AI for these tests. This time it's really close, we're gonna win.
Great gods be praised!
We're gonna win this.
The
Now,
enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts!
so if we were to reverse this test so that we have the trained one, will it
Our army!
will it go the other way? Right, hang on, I'm gonna... So that's how many have we done now? Is that 3? But yeah, we're untrained. We're untrained. Alright. Yeah. We're untrained, they're trained. And this is the high melee defense one, so I need to just reverse that and do another set quickly and see if we regularly lose, because that would confirm that playing against the AI is consistent for this testing. Because it'll be very weird if we assume control of the trained Town Watch and then we suddenly have the trained side get the fortune that I've been having. See how this always emerges? You have these protrusions like this. So that shows that cohesion is a factor. You have a line, you have solid lines. They never get mixed in, and if they do, it never lasts. Like, see this guy here, he's got to be doomed. He returned to his line, but if he stayed there for a while, he would die. Yeah, see, the life expectancy of guys that are mixed in is really low.
The enemy general is killed! Fear makes a home in our enemies' hearts!
Their general died very early there. And we have a good flank going on here, we have them surrounded, see that? So they're going to be getting flanked and hitting the side, and that'll really fuck them up. I think that must be what's happening here. So if we preclude that by stretching out into long lines, then we could echo what happened in our first tests, where we preclude the flank and get our own flank, and then that amplifies the outcomes of these duels where we get more 2-on-1s from a flanking position. Yeah, we're winning this. So that may be what it comes down to. Trained units might be better at holding more stretched out lines, but untrained units might stretch out on their own more reliably, and that might give them the edge that they need in these fights. But if I were to get trained units, assume control of them, stretch them out manually, guarantee the surround, then maybe we could have outcomes that are unprecedented. Yeah, we're winning again. There they go. Completely surrounded. And they don't last long at all. Yep, See how quickly those last 3 went down? Alright, now to reverse the test. So now we get the trained, they get the untrained. Yeah. So let's see how this goes. I'll test this a few times. I'm tired and I've been going for a while, but I'll test this a few times, try to, and then I will, as a final test for this video, do 1 or 2 runs of being fully stretched out and see if we can get good fortunes for the trained units. Alright, we're running. No one died.
The enemy general is slain, and now his men fear us. It is time to press the attack.
Their general went down so fast, holy shit. I think that'll really fuck them up. I really do. Now the shape is different, it's not quite the same. They're winning. If they win, it'll at least be reassuring in the sense that the methodology of the test is good. It yields good results, accurate results. We're not getting confounded by some bullshit where the AI gets nerfed. It'll be consistent if the AI wins this, if the untrained unit prevails in this straight fight of 3 ranks, trained versus untrained, meeting head on. But their general did die really fast, and that could fuck them up. I think the general's good at winning duels. He seems to last a long time and get a lot of kills. For whatever reason. 84, 82 v 68. Yeah, we're winning. It is weird. Like, my god, we had such an KD advantage. I remember reading 12% lost to like 40% lost, 35% lost, so we had a KD of like 2.5 or something in that test, which is extreme. What accounts for that? I don't see it being replicated here ever. I can't imagine that we're ever going to see that again. That is weird, that is strange. But we are winning this convincingly, look at that. So we're winning convincingly, it's not close. It really does seem like the AI just is nerfed sometimes, it's strange. I don't know how else to explain this. What else is going on? Look at that, we've lost 64%, they've lost everything. We have a lot left. Yeah, he's doomed. See how quickly he went down there, the backstab got him? Yeah, I don't know, man, it's just strange. It's like I consistently win, even though I'm just swapping which side has which units. I still consistently win. Let's just do this again. I don't know what else can be affecting this test. All I do is give the click attack to attack, so it shouldn't be. I shouldn't have an advantage. Alright, I'm running first. sometimes I run a little bit too late, other times I run a bit too fast. Should even out. Can't be that. Yeah, see if I win this one again and it's decisive, then I'm gonna have to just speculate that the player has an advantage against the AI. Look at that, he's dead again.
And now his men fear us. It is time to press the attack.
Yeah, if we win this again, then I'll just go straight to the stretching out into line and see if we can get a really good result, a good outcome, a really good one. It does look like we're winning again. It looks like it. And we have an envelopment going on here, like we've surrounded them kinda over there. See how the guys on the flanks pull more guys over to join in with them and be cohesive with them? See that? They're trained to support each other. Look at this guy going in for the aggressive flank. And it opens them up as well. See that? That guy's dead. He's doomed. He's getting 2-on-1s. He's gone. See that? They always die. They always die. This guy's gonna get 2-on-1. Yeah, he's dead as well. See, I couldn't even say it fast enough, and this guy's dead as well. He probably won't get a single kill. He's gone. See how the 2-on-1s are so effective? I think this guy's fucked. He's already got knocked down. This guy's fucked. Yeah, he's gone. See that? See how the 2-on-1s are so decisive? That guy... Oh, this guy's fucked. This guy's just gonna die. He's not gonna get anywhere. Oh wait, he's up at 1-on-1 again. He's fucked. He's dead. He's dead. 2-on-1. Yeah, he's gone. Every time. Every fucking time. My god. And yeah, we're winning this. It's a bit of a... It's an absolute demolition again. We've still got half and they're almost all gone. And they're surrounded and doomed. So they're gonna get wiped out now. Why do I always win? It's almost like Total War just loves me, and every time I'm playing it, the game wants me to win. I don't know what else I can say about this. Yeah, now you've got 3-on-1s, 5-on-1s, all kinds of shit going on. Yeah, they just get wiped out now. The surround is so decisive. Look at that, 70 left. So this is a completely fair fight, where every single duel is protracted. And it's this decisive, one way or the other. Come on. Alright, so I am trained, and I'm gonna be 2 lines thick, and I'm gonna stand there and I'm gonna just take the charge. I'm just taking this charge, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna be in guard mode and I'm gonna take the charge. I'm gonna be so cohesive, there's not gonna be a single gap in my line. We're gonna have no gaps. Come on, stand cohesively, fuckers. Yeah, look at that, look, no gaps, perfect, drilled. No blemishes whatsoever. A flawless line. And we're going to take this charge. They're not going to kill a single man. It's going to be a pathetic charge. And then we're going to guarantee an envelopment by unguard moding as soon as the melee's broken out. Look at that, look at how well we took that charge. And now we go for the fucking flank. Let's see how well this works. Oh, look at that, they're even spazzing out and making it easy for us. Alright, let's see how this goes. Let's see if our well-trained infantry with no gaps in the line can hold really well while our flankers go in and get the kill. Still only lost like 2 or 3. Yep, we're getting good flanks now. This is it. Let's see how decisive this is. I want this to be really decisive. I want to lose like 50 guys at most while they get wiped out. Let's see if we can do it. Come on, give it to me. Give it to me, I want to see it. Come on, it shouldn't be close, it shouldn't be close. There's no way in hell this should be close at all. Come on, man. Oh, I can't believe it. It's fucking close and it's pissing me off. I don't understand the inconsistency. It's weird. I don't get it. Confusing results. It might just be too inconsistent to really say anything one way or the other. I don't know. Maybe I need to test this exhaustively. I've provided the methodology I've got here, so maybe other people can do it. And if you have a bigger sample size of results, then you can say one way or the other, but yeah, it's kind of even. It's 80 for 80 at the moment. I'm not exactly doing well. In fact, we're losing, I think. So what is it that's happening in these fights? Obviously when you look at the micro fights that are going on, you can see the one-on-ones always are a coin toss, whereas the 2v1s are fucking 90% of the time the 2 wins against the 1. So when you look at the fight, zoom down on it at that aspect ratio, that scale of resolution, it's sensible, but when you zoom out and you look at the overall fight, it's kind of confusing. I don't know why this is close, I don't understand it. And maybe if I did this again, I would get an understandable, sensible result. But I'm too tired to do that right now, so...
The enemy general is slain, and now his men fear us. It is time to press the attack!
So maybe some other day after I've read the comments and thought about this more, and maybe even someone gives me a better test that I can perform. At least we're winning this, at least we're going to win it no matter what, but it's not going to be an absolute fucking demolition that I hoped for, because that would have been inexplicable. I would have understood why it happened. But yeah, it does seem like training confers an advantage overall, long term. Some of these tests were quite decisive. A few of them weren't. But I think I've seen enough to be able to say that yeah, being trained helps. It does help. And it's understandable why it would.
Our army!
Yep. So, we've observed that training definitely does affect stamina, regenerate. That's not even disputed, that's indisputable, which is something that almost no one's going to know, and that should be really interesting. And also, it does seem to affect fights. It'd be interesting if I was to put a list of all these results in a document and then compare them. I might do that, I might put that in the description, so check the description, and I might have done that. And then we can see if there's a slant one way or the other. In the meantime, leave comments, tell me what you think, and if you have a observation that's interesting, or an idea for a test that could be good, let me know. That's it for me.